Hey guys, in this video I want to share with you my 5 favorite quality of life mods for Rimworld, and I'm just going to jump straight into things with my first on the list called Mod Manager. Mods in the game are a huge part of the game. There are tons of mods available. The modding community is fantastic for Rimworld. It's actually one of the reasons I love Rimworld so much, but that does lead to having a lot of mods. I have tons of mods usually installed and quite a few active for most of my playthroughs, and the problem with that, as you can see on screen now, is it can get a little bit tricky to manage because you'll end up with a bunch of ticked ones at the top, and then as you go further down the list you have to like search for stuff, and the search doesn't work brilliantly. Well, Mod Manager kind of takes this away, and I can show you now that this is what Mod Manager looks like. You have your available on the left, your active on the right. When you click on them, you can see the full workshop page on the right hand side. You can click and drag to kind of add mods, remove mods, and organize them that way. The search functionality is way better. It kind of gets rid of the other mods around it, so you only get the ones that it matches for. So say I want to do vanilla expanded, I can type in vanilla animals, and there you go, there's all my vanilla animal mods that I have currently. You can also access the workshop direct from here. You can also reset your mod list to remove all the ones that you currently have active, so it just gets rid of everything but the basics, and you can save and load mod lists as well as setting up some color settings and everything in the right hand corner. It's a brilliant mod, and it has made managing my mods a considerable amount easier. It just makes it so much more efficient. While we're in this menu, I just want to quickly give a shout out or honorable mention to Harmony. This is a code library that basically 90% of mods, or quite a few mods you can see here when I drag it off, this depends on Harmony, which I don't currently have active. So if you don't have Harmony, a lot of mods won't run. So just a shout out to it. It doesn't actually do anything to the game whatsoever, but it is required in a lot of cases, and so you should definitely get it. And the next mod I want to move on to, which is number 2 on my list, is the RocketMan performance mod. And what this does is basically it's an efficiency mod. It basically makes the game slightly more efficient and can reduce the chances of lag occurring. Basically you can get anywhere up to about 500 ticks per second additional, which will increase your FPS, and you won't get you will get less stutter and less lag when you get into the late game where there's lots of colonists, and say you have lots of colonists and a huge raid drop, and if you ever want to run on like 3 times speed when you've got like a bunch of animals and colonists and raiders, you'll end up with a bit of stuttering and lag. This reduces the chances of that, or at least reduces the amount of lag and stutter that you'll get. So it's a really good mod. Now they do have a disclaimer that says be aware that it could affect save games and things like that. I've never had an issue with it, touch wood, and they say that they tested it extensively for 9 months and didn't have any issues with it. So I kind of believe that it's a great mod. One thing to note is you should definitely load it as your last mod. It actually says to do that when you read all through the instructions, and yeah, it's fantastic. And I'm actually going to load into the game that I have set up for this mod list game here, just so I can show you a little bit of how to set it up and what it does. So when you first load in, it will do a loading bar like this, which will then disappear, and then you'll have this thing called adaptive mode just here, and this is just to let you know for the first 0 to 45 minutes of you running per new save or when you change your mods. And this is just, I think, for it to kind of get used to whatever sort of settings you had set up and make it more efficient. So this will eventually go away, but it's just to let you know the adaptive mode is running. If you click on this little rocket thing, you can come into the menu and change any settings. I personally would recommend leaving it as is. It's just so you can like turn it off and turn off various functionality. One functionality that you may want to turn off is the enable automatic corpse removal. This, as it says on screen there, basically if you haven't seen or looked at the corpse for a while and they aren't near your base, to avoid breaking the game balance, it just removes those corpses from your map. This helps again with lag because it's one less thing that needs to be kind of rendered in memory, and it generally speaking keeps your map a little bit tidier. It doesn't destroy the balance of the game or anything. It doesn't make the game super easy. It's just like another little helping hand to make things better. There are a bunch of other stuff you can see, like when certain things are activated and other settings. I haven't really explored them. I just kind of set it up and let it do its thing, and have found that I'm now on a newer PC, so I don't really have a lag issue so much anymore. My CPU's a much more powerful one, but my previous, I was on a gaming laptop, and I did definitely get some lag in the later game, and this did definitely help me reduce that lag. Highly recommend that mod. It does help a lot, especially if you're on a slower CPU. The next mod I want to talk about, and you may or may not have noticed it already, is color-coded mood bar. You can see it up the top here that this colonist has a blue mood bar, and these other two have kind of this what looks like like the normal base color, but the base color is actually a darker color, which I will show a picture just below so you can compare. And all this does is kind of just let you know if a colonist's mood is changed either for the better or for the worst. Now, it's not like a drastic change or anything, but I found it so useful because otherwise they kind of like, you can kind of barely see the mood as it kind of changes throughout the game. This kind of just draws your attention. They go yellow when they start to get a bit unhappy and red when they get super unhappy. So you can kind of be like, oh, I need to pay attention. What does this colonist need? Obviously, you can go into needs and find out what's wrong with them and then adjust it from there. And it's especially useful when you have a ton of colonists. Say you've got like 15, 20 plus colonists. You can be like, oh, this guy needs some help, and you can kind of focus in on them. So it's really useful. It's a massive quality of life improvement in my opinion. And the next one is very similar to that, which is called Show Draftee's Weapons. And what this one does is you can equip a weapon, and then when I draft this person, you can see under his little portrait at the top, you can see what weapon he has. So at the moment he's the only one with weapon. Let's say I bring over this person and give him the knife, and there you go, you can now see that she has a knife wielded. And this is great, especially when you're trying to organize your colonists for when a raid is occurring. So say for example this guy cannot attack anyone because he's incapable of violence. Just a quick tip, one that I have said before in some of my previous guides: if you right click and drag, you can move colonists around. It took me 420 hours of gameplay before I realized I could do this, by the way, but still that's the way it goes. I tend to like to group mine together. So say this guy actually could fight and he had a revolver, I would normally then move him so he was next to my revolver. The revolver and rifle were together, so I could move them around together. He's just puking, don't mind him. And then move my meleeist in a different fashion. There are other mods that you can use to kind of organize this even further, but just as a starting point, if you're not looking to add tons of functionality and mods and potentially, you know, adjust how the game is played, this is just such a good little quality of life mod, and I really like it. And finally, mod number 5 is, and again you may or may not have noticed this, is this numbers tab menu down the bottom here. The reason why this mod is brilliant is just how incredibly customizable and how much information this menu can give you. Effectively, what you can see is you can see your colonists, enemies, prisoners, guests, animals, wild animals, corpses, and animal corpses on the map. So as you can see, there's no corpses, animal corpses. The only thing really on the map are colonists, animals, and wild animals. But what you can do is you can literally add any set of information that you want to this right hand side. So say I want to see if they're cooking or not. I want to see, along with that, I want to see their cooking skill. So, you know, my cook is definitely set to on. And I want to see if they have burden, and none of them have burden as an ability. And you can also do things like what gender are they? And then you can set up presets. You can save your current view. So say you've got a particular view you really like for certain situations, you can save it. You can load a saved view. You can load any of the medical, or they have a bunch of presets set up, which kind of can help. So combat one is pretty useful because this tells you what their current DPS is, what their move speed is, what their shot accuracy is, what their aiming time is, and tells you just like really useful information. Mood and food is also quite good to have, and then you can add stuff to it as well. Say you want to find out if they have marksman command, you want to see what their shooting skill is, and you also want to see if they are set to hunt. Like, you can set this up however you want. It's brilliant. There's so much you can do with it. I won't go into much more on like use cases or anything like that because I honestly could do an entire video on it. You guys should really just come in and check it out, just download it. And yeah, that's my list of 5 of my favorite quality of life mods for Rimworld. If you are interested in using any of them, I have links in the description below. You can also find them on the Steam Workshop. I just want to say a big thank you to the Rimworld modding community. Those guys have made Rimworld what it is. I know that the game itself, even in vanilla format, is a fantastic game, but like the mods just keep on giving and keep on making this game better. So really appreciate that from those creators. Yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.